I pledge allegiance
to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call. Mr. Firstos is gone. Mr. Finrod
Present.
is here. Mr. Orr. Present. Ms. Tobias.
Present.
Mr. Raymer. Here. And Mr. Espis. Here. And I'm here, so 6-0. Any additions, deletions?
I'd like to delete 6.9.
6.9. Okay. Hearing of patrons. We got a good crowd tonight. Awesome. Okay, recognitions.
Who would like?
Presentations, Sue Gagné,
Well,
We got this.
let's go back to
Let's do the-
resignations.
Yeah.
So
or
I-
recognitions. So
I think we have some folks that are here for a reason other than just watching us do our
Oh,
wonderful
come
things up here.
on.
So
I'm sure they're here on their own free will.
Coaches?
Coaches?
Coaches? We're going to have to stand up and,
if
we'll
you
start
would,
with
if you
swimming
would like
since it was in the
to,
winter.
please step up to the microphone so we can hear. And if you would introduce.
your show. It's Cumberland.
All right, so we have Sophie Cumberland here, and Sophie's a sophomore, three-sport athlete that qualified for the state championships in swimming this winter. And just to brag on her a little bit in our program, this is the 9th year out of the last 10 that we've sent a girl swimmer to the state meet, and that's pretty impressive in itself. But it's even more remarkable when you kind of look at the demographics of swimming in Indiana and the way it is. So Indiana is one of the fastest swimming states in the country, and the high school state meet is probably one of the fastest high school meets in the country. So just an example is that like 2 years ago, there was a reigning gold medalist like lining up on the blocks next to the swimmers. So like Carmel has gold medalists. So it's just a high level of competition, and it's a sport in Indiana that's dominant. It's a single class sport, and it's dominated by big schools with big pools with year-round swimmers. And I'm just proud of Sophie, who's a three-sport athlete. She's from August to end of October, she's locked in with volleyball, 100% committed to that. I get her from October to February, and she's 100% locked into that. And then the next day after the state final, she was on the track working on her high jump and all her running. So it's pretty big. It's always a pretty big deal to get a swimmer through from a small school. I'm really proud of it. I think when you look through the schools that swim in Indiana, there's maybe 240 schools that sponsor swimming in the state. Of those 240, 69 had a girl swimmers qualify for state. Out of those 69, 6 were what you consider like a 2A basketball school or smaller. So out of all these schools, there's just 6 small schools. So it's really dominated by big schools. So for us, it's always a big accomplishment to get somebody through. So anything to add, Sophie?
I can think of.
All right.
We got some questions.
Coach Bennett, I don't know if you mentioned, what event did you say the event?
100 freestyle.
100 freestyle. What was the time?
56.20.
Wow.
So yeah.
She's got that memorized. Huh?
And I hope to drop it down next year and get a little bit lower, place a little bit better. So.
Awesome
No,
job,
awesome. I'd just like to say, like, for every one of you guys, yeah, we are a big school, right? But why not kids from Manchester? Like, why can't they be state champs? Why can't, different things? So, like, I think everybody in this community, like, we've got genetics, right? You guys are good looking, you're smart, you're strong, like the athletics, we just, I'm proud of you guys when you do stuff like this. It doesn't matter school size, right? It's like your heart is what really matters in these sports and stuff, and what you're willing to put in. I bet you had a lot of early mornings, huh?
Yep.
Right.
Yep. We work hard when we can in the time we have to work hard, and I think we're locked in. But also, where a lot of other swimmers around the state are in the pool year round and mornings, evenings. I think, with us sharing the pool, we get a limited amount of time, but the time we're there, we're focused. But I also think it's almost an advantage that we can get out of the pool, we can step away and kind of focus our competitive drive into somewhere else where we're still competitive, we're still trying to be the best, we're still trying to be good at what we're doing, but we're able to kind of step away from whatever that sport is and not get burnt out and just keep things fresh. So I think that's a good advantage for everybody.
Awesome. Thank you.
I
You want a
wanted
round
to-
of applause?
Adam's got something.
Yeah. Congratulations, Sophie, on making that. Obviously, you got a few more years, and obviously, probably goals are better your time and so forth. What age did you start swimming? Because I'm assuming you just don't pick swimming up in the summer and then do that.
Like the age of 6.
Okay, so you've been
gosh.
swimming a long time. Yeah. So, all right, congratulations.
Amazing
So,
job.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, tonight?
Typical.
You better hurry. You got some tall ducklings there.
So I'm going to add on to what Wally said. Sorry, don't get behind the mic, but you can hear me, right?
Yep.
So track, like swimming, I believe like tennis, we are all non-class sports. And I think it's funny that we're sitting in a room of talented athletes that have to compete in non-class sports. And I think we're very lucky to have the talent we do that rises to the top. So anyway, I'm going to introduce these guys, but before I do, I'm going to do a little bragging. I didn't know we got to brag. I brought my paper over from tonight's awards, so I could. You're looking at some really talented young men who are part of the team that set 7 indoor records this year, 5 outdoor records this year, and a conference record this year. They actually broke the team from 2022 that I thought was so great in the 4x4. They broke it. 2 of those guys are right here, Carson Heath and Eli Metzger. But they ran times. The 4x1 record that those 2 are also on that they broke was 49 years old. I mean, some of these records are really old, and they just smoked them all. So anyway, I don't move on because we have others to go, but I just can't tell you. We are so very fortunate. We've been successful every year. Guys like this come out, and they just keep working to improve. They compete not only with opposition, but themselves, and I think that keeps us fresh and keeps us moving forward. But we just came back from the state meet. We had a great time, didn't we? At least I heard so. I've not heard any stories, but I think they had a really good time, and we were really well represented. Do you guys want to brag on yourselves or not?
You can brag.
I really. All right. What? I gotta brag for you. They're not gonna brag. All right. So I'll start with my seniors, and then we'll go to my junior because he's going to come back next year and go even higher. So this is Carson Heath. Carson Heath has been running track for 1 billion years. He was taught to hurdle, both he and Eli, by Ashton Bradford, who's our junior high coach. He came to us already knowing a lot of the skills, and he just kept getting better. He broke the school record in the 100. Well, he broke the school record in the 60-meter hurdles in the indoor. He ran 8.18. He ran 14:32 at regionals, not only to win, but to go on to state. He is a 3-time sectional champion, a 2-time regional champion. How many times have you won conference? Twice? Twice. 2-time conference champion. He was on the relay on the 4x4. Like I said, that set the conference record. He was also the 4x4 that set the indoor 4x4 record. Anyway, he's been spoken up for a long time. We really appreciate it. By the way, he's a 2-time state guy. He also went last year. This year he finished 14th, which is in the top half of the people that go to state. So I'm really super proud of Carson. He's gonna go to Grace next year. So pretty excited about that. Next to him is Eli Metzger. He's 300-meter hurdle guy. He's run a lot of things for us. He started to run the 110s with Carson, and then he moved on. We needed a 100-meter guy, so he did that for us. Kind of a little bit of everything. He's been the lead leg in my 4x1 and my 4x4. He was also on the team that set those 2 records along with Carson. He was 15th at state, and he was so upset because he wanted to set that school record. He was within 2/10 of the school record. But I did tell him that he was higher placed than the young man that was 4th in 2022, the kid whose record he was chasing. He actually ran faster. Same thing, by the way, with Carson Heath. Carson Heath 4 years ago would have been top 4 or top 5. Eli would have been top 4. Anyway, both of those gentlemen are really good at what they do, and they're extremely fun to watch. Did I miss anything? Oh, he is the 3-time sectional champion in the 300-meter hurdles and 2-time is conference.
One time.
One-time conference. Anyway, 300-meter hurdle champion. The guy in the end. That boy likes to fly high. So he has the indoor record, 6'7". He went indoor for us. He also jumped 21.5, which was the long jump record indoor. He set those 2 records for us. He made it to state this year on a bum leg, and then he went down to state. And just to show you what the competition was like, first of all, our regional had 3 of the top 4 guys in high jump, came out of our regional. By the way, 3 of the guys in the top 9 were from our conference. He out-jumped the young man from Cordy. Where's Cordy from? Lakeland. Anyway, and he was making me nervous because he was skipping the odds. He skipped 6'3", he skipped 6'5". He goes, every time he goes over the table, I go, no! And he did it anyway. And anyway, but the young man went 6'10". We've never had a 6'10" high jumper. What school our size is a 6'10" high jumper? And matter of fact, this guy goes 6'4", so how many schools have a 6'10" and a 6'4" high jumper? None. And I want to attribute that to this man who won't toot his own horn. Hey, he has coached twice. He coached Colby Hacker to state, and he's coached Corbin Pressel to state. So snaps to that man too. He's done a lot for our program. Anyway, Corbin, you want to flash your medal? That cool thing about Corbin is he's only a junior and he's not done. Before he bummed out his leg at sectionals, he'd already hit the state standard in the long jump. And if you hit state standard during the tournament series, it means you automatically go on to state. He hit it and then hurt himself and then didn't long jump at state. So he has potential with both. So anyway, I can't be prouder, as you can tell, if I was their parent. And sometimes I think I am. But anyway, these 3 they're great young men. Oh, I forgot to say, Eli's going to play football and hopefully run track at Manchester University. And how many coaches did you talk to from colleges on Saturday?
After today and before.
Yeah, there we go. So they're already looking. So anyway, these young men are exceptional in more ways than one, and I'm sure appreciated what they've done for the Manchester track team.
Thank you, guys.
Yep, thank you. I just want to say, it sounds like there's a lot of good mentors that help them get to and coaches as well. A lot of dedication on you guys' part, and so it takes not just the students, but the coaches as well. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I gotta go sign it. Anyway, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Can you hear me okay if I'm here? Okay.
You're good.
We have 4 of our, how many do we have? 15. Don't know where half the team is right now, but they're somewhere, most of them.
Having fun.
When I didn't plan on doing this team, coaching this team this year. Jill gave us a surprise, I guess, maybe not. Lori's been trying to get you to stop for a while anyway, wasn't it? So, no?
A lot of life to live.
A lot of life to live. So I walked into a pretty good situation where they hadn't lost in regular season in 2 years, I believe, right? Okay. We messed that up a little bit, but my job is just don't mess it up. This team, just a bunch of seniors, 5 seniors that just led the team. It was a good group, fun group to be around with and hang out with them in the buses, on the practices, wherever it is. Buses were kind of boring though, but everything else you guys would like. It was dead quiet. As far as the tennis part goes, this team was ready to go. We've had a couple losses, two
Two were, we're going to blame illness, but you shouldn't blame anything, just go get the job done. But that kind of hurt. We ended up tying for the TRC, which that's the goal to win it, but we still did. We're just sharing with Northfield. One of our losses was one that we didn't even have on the schedule. A tournament got rained out. Culver Academy called and said, "Hey, you guys want to play?" We took an hour drive. We battled with them. We didn't. It was a struggle for, not struggle for them maybe, but it was. We didn't just lay down. There was a lot of 2-3, 6-3, 6-4, 6-2s for that. So, and then we had some illness and some injuries and stuff that brought. That's why we lost one conference match that way. No excuses, but again, then when it was time for sectional and regional, they stepped up. It was just a good situation there all the way. The goal was to win a regional. It was going to be tough. We had to go against Homestead, who's always tough, and it was a good match. We played really tight with them, but they got us. So I think we were 16-4 altogether. I think that was it, and then set 8-1 in the TRC. So, and just a good group of players here. So you guys say your names at least, please. Go for it.
I'm Claire DeAndre.
Freshman.
I'm Bethany Penrod, and I was a senior, so I graduated. I'm Lillian Sarah, and I'm a sophomore.
I'm Tallulah Gothrop, and I'm going into my senior year.
Okay.
I don't know what I did. I was a junior.
That's all right.
We did the math,
You
it's
can't copy
okay.
what we did, but do you want about 30 seconds?
I'm just going to add that the
Okay.
seniors, there were 5 seniors, and their combined 4-year record was just from what you just said. You were 16-4 this year?
Yeah.
So they were 63-7 in their career.
Wow.
63-7. And 2 of the losses this year were top 20 teams in the state. And they won 4, or share this year, 4 conference titles and 3 sectional titles, and won 2 regional matches, making it to the regional finals twice. So that's quite an accomplished group of seniors that we're sending out.
And Joel, you said before that we'd never won a match in regionals, so those two were.
The last 2 years, we had always lost first round in regionals.
Yeah.
And this last 2 years, we advanced to the regional finals, which is the final 32 teams in the state of Indiana.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And it's pretty rare air, a lot of Indianapolis schools in that final 32.
Yep.
I think the conference is going to be, happy that a few might be moving on, because the record of 33-1 in the last 4 years in conference, that's pretty substantial. So,
Yep.
yeah. And I've saw firsthand a lot of the matches and the coaches and the time that they put in it. A lot of young players that are still going to be back next year. We want to encourage the public. I think we need a few more, but it's been a lot of fun, a lot of dedication to go out there, and the coaches' time. So, yeah. Thanks for the girls, and I know there's others that are not here for various reasons, but congratulations.
And we have camp coming up in July where they're out there, pick up here at the school or whatever, and come play tennis. I'm not in this room, of course, but who's watching and listening. All right.
Hey, I'd just like to say thank you all for all the athletes for your, what you do for the school corporation and promotion. And there's nothing better than what you do. So again, congratulations.
Is there any other athletes that we missed that are here tonight?
Did we miss anyone?
Alumni athletes. Or any,
Yeah, right on. Have a good night.
All right.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you for always doing this.
Thank you for coaching.
Yeah.
What, where are you guys going?
Yeah.
There's no homework tomorrow, is there?
sports alert at 7.
Yeah.
I am. It's
Okay.
Travis is kind of sad. but-
All right, well, I'm Sue Janegi, and everyone in the room knows who I am now. I was going to say, but I think we're good. We're here to talk about STEM certification, and I have Joel Eichenauer and James Ely with me as well. And Joel has to leave pretty quickly, so I'm going to go through a few things, and then I might have to backtrack a little bit to answer some of your questions. But just kind of some background. 6 years ago, we were STEM certified at all levels, our elementary, our intermediate, and our junior senior high school. And the process was rigorous. COVID sort of complicated that a little bit as well, but we navigated through all of that, and at that time we began collecting evidence for the recertification, which was to happen in 26-27. Well, last year the IDOE did a complete overhaul of the certification process. They changed the rubric substantially, and there was no such thing anymore as recertification. So saying that the deliverable changed was an understatement. Going forward, they were asking schools to complete the certification process annually, and that is 16 folders of documentation at 4 progressively detailed levels, and all of that being specifically IDOE facing, so not shared with the public, just you're putting evidence in folders for the Department of Education. So Zach, if you want to go to the second slide. Actually, I can talk about the STEM leadership team and the advisory board after you leave, Joel, but know that these two were they put in an astronomical amount of work into the process, and so I want to mention all of the leadership team, but at this time I think I'll come back to that slide so that Joel can speak before he has to leave. But I will say that if you go to slide 3, Zach, in January of 2026, we were one of 30 schools that applied for the certification. We filled out multitudes of folders and put a lot of evidence in those folders. And in February, we learned that we were just at the investigating level. So investigating, developing, emerging, and innovating, which innovating is the certification level. No schools, like 0 out of 30, were anything but investigating. And for us, that was certainly a punch in the gut. We thought we were above that, and we thought our evidence was sufficient enough for that. But the process was new, and we just really didn't know. All the schools, the IDOE offered a site visit, so we took them up on that. They came, visited all 3 buildings. They saw, as the slide says, STEM embedded in our DNA. They said things like, we can tell this isn't a dog and pony show. We could have walked in any day of the school year and we would have seen these great things happening at Manchester. Like, they realized that. They used the words like innovating and flagship school, those kinds of things as they walked our halls. So if you go on to slide 4, and I'm talking really fast so Joel can talk. We knew that the evidence they were looking for was ultra detailed, right? They wanted sustainable documentation practices, they wanted systems alignment, and what we had was a documentation gap. We did not provide, we were doing the right things, but we didn't provide the granular evidence they were looking for to grant us anything above that investigating level, and neither did any of the other 29 schools that applied. So in May of this year, our second advisory board meeting, we talked at great length about return on investment. So Zach, if you can advance that slide. And one of our advisory board members, Corrine Evans, she said, what will Manchester Community Schools have to give up in order to get certification? And the answer was time. An astronomical, I'll use that word again, amount of time. We know time is finite. So where do we want to invest our time? And the answer was certainly unanimous from our constituents. So Zach, go to the next slide, and Joel, go ahead and kind of take it from there.
Yeah, and I'm going to add, I believe they told us on the site visit, which that's what the first initial 6 years ago was, a site visit. You showed them everything, they gave us the stamp of approval. This time, they sent this document out maybe the end of October, and it was due January 2nd. And we all know that we've got holidays and Christmas, so really it was due middle of December. And of the 50, I think they said 8 schools that originally expressed interest, only 30 actually applied. And we almost were one of those that didn't apply. As I looked at James, the eternal optimist in me, I looked at James and said, there's no way. What they're asking for is unreasonable, is an inordinate amount of documentation. How do you take everything that you do and put it into files? How do you script out everything that you do and take pictures of everything that you do? And it was almost like they really needed to come for an official site visit, but that's not what they were asking for. And it almost proved my point a little bit of an insurmountable task in the fact that 0 of the 30 schools were even anything above that bottom level. It's almost as though what they want it to be a process, and they want to show that they're bringing schools along on that process gradually. And as we talked about that in our meeting, our STEM team, we decided that we could either spend an inordinate amount of hours, which would give us the state sticker, give us that label, or we could devote, because we know money's finite, time is, and energy is finite too. Or we could work at getting high-level organic student experiences. We could be better in the classrooms, better for the clients, better for the teachers, better for the parents. I spent 1 week in December trying to document and work towards this in place of working with students. So I gave the state already a week of my time for naught, pretty much. And I could have spent that week now in retrospect. I should have spent it with kids. And I don't want to make that same mistake again.
In my world, I call that non-value added versus value add with the kids. So
Exactly.
thank you.
And so we could be either having the state auditors as our primary audience, or we could have it being the communities, the families, the kids that we teach. We can either have all of that. We're bringing so many teachers on board. We've had, I believe, 6 teachers get STEM certification in the last 2 months. Which means they sign up and they take a long test and they have to go through several hoops to get that, but it's got a little stipend from the state, and it does give us a stamp of like we've got credentialed people, and that is manageable that the state's offering, and we're pushing people to do that. But what we don't want to do is we don't want that state sticker that doesn't have any funding or anything other than just a label that we get to take the place, and I don't want people to spend the energy towards STEM education along with a negative feeling of, oh man, is this what we're going to have to do to be a STEM certified school? There's all of the other, we've got to get kids past the iRead and the iLearn and all these other goals that we have. STEM is just a part of our teaching day. It's not the full focus for all day long. And so we've got to put that into perspective. As much as it's my full-time job, I'm encouraging people to integrate it and incorporate it, and I can best do that if we can focus our energies on amazing experiences, which I'm telling you, this last spring and winter, we had so many amazing things happening. James and many other grade level people just knocked it out of the park. You should have seen all the things that kindergarten was doing and all the special field trips and activities and events and hands-on learning experiences that were meaningful with problem solving, critical thinking, all of those things we want our kids to be able to do were happening. And we can make those happen. We continue to make those happen. And we've got some ideas to expand that in the future too. On the next slide, you can see that we can protect our instructional time. That's what, I mean, the bulletin boards look nice, but they don't make a student learn better. It's what the teacher does with the lesson and the teaching and the instruction and the planning and the preparing for a dynamic, wonderful experience with the kids. And we can forge some partnerships with community people. We've already started to do that. That will help strengthen it and give us some real experiences for either the next level of education or for people that will enter the workforce with things that they do. And we can also take control of our story. Rather than have it be in some file folders that the state doesn't really do anything with, we can have it be a real application for sharing and telling our story. So that's going to be our plan. Our goal is to be able to make our efforts and our money accountable to the students that we teach and the parents and the community members in an impactful way, rather than just jumping through a lot of hoops and doing a lot of paperwork. I mean, I couldn't believe how much, and I looked at James and I'm like, I'm out, James. I can't do this. And James like, okay, let's try to take little bites at a time. And we tried to apply for it. And afterwards, I think we're making the right decision. I really do. In saying the state's going to have to change their evaluation process if it's going to be meaningful. And I'm wondering if other schools are in the same position as we are thinking that. Yes.
Thank you, Joyce.
Yeah, and anniversary this Saturday. Got tickets to a show. 34 years, and this is how you stay married.
Keep going, Joel.
Happy
Thank you, sir.
anniversary.
Hi there, I'm James Ely, and I became part of the STEM leadership team, I think, end of last year. So I'm still very new to this. I know it's been an ongoing process for quite a while, since before I was here. But we kind of were trying the recertification for a while when that was still a thing. And then when that changed into just the flat out certification, then we had to totally switch gears like Joel and Sue talked about. Again, tons and tons of documentation trying to show your worth instead of actually just really doing it and just doing it in a really awesome way. We collected, I don't know how many hundreds of pictures and videos and files, lesson plans, everything was labeled to a T. It was really, it was kind of, I think, hard to see when we got the results from that. So that's, I think, a large part of why we're here, and we want to try to maybe pivot from where we were onto a new approach, which is, again, just really doing some exciting things at our school and across the district to really just make STEM, I mean, it is part of our DNA, but to really showcase that. So,
I forgot to
Sorry,
mention, I was gonna say this slide here, I mean, when we started talking about opportunities and sharing that with our advisory board, we realized we are already doing way more than a lot of schools our size or in our area. I mean, the total solar eclipse high altitude balloon launch, that was, I mean, NASA had our information, was collecting our data. So, I mean, that to me is just a once in a lifetime opportunity. And we all know, I like to talk about Science Olympiad. Our Science Olympiad teams have been state qualifiers and contenders every year since 2003. And so many other things. You know, our FFA program is robust, and that's STEM at work as well. And so we already know that we're doing great things. And Zach, if you go to the next slide, not just locally, but the state knows our name. Joel was one of just 2 recipients of the STEM Excellence Educator Award in 2025, and that gala celebration was phenomenal. We have been asked by the DOE to present at their conferences and showcase our STEM. I serve on the Northeast Indiana STEM Ecosystem Advisory Board and sit alongside people like Nadine Baker from the Don Woods Foundation, and we talk about STEM in Northeast Indiana. And I think this November we are presenting, I think we're going to do it at the national conference. So there's a lot of STEM being, you know, just presented and talked about that is rooted in Manchester, Indiana, North Manchester, Indiana. So that's exciting. But we do need to pivot if we're going to not apply for certification. And this gentleman has amazing ideas, and so he's going to share a couple of those ideas with you.
Yeah, so I think on the next slide, we were talking about how can we tell the story of Manchester Community Schools. How can we tell or show that we do have this ingrained in our DNA. We came up with some ideas. Some of the things we're already doing. We have social media accounts, I think, for all of the schools here. And I kind of do, I do run the MES one. So I do post stuff about STEM every now and then. It's not currently like a regular thing, but again, all of our time prior to this has been dedicated to making all these documents and filings and labeling. So it'd be great if we could take that time that was being spent with that and maybe do like maybe a weekly STEM focus or something that really shows to our community on Facebook and even beyond, because Facebook kind of goes beyond that. Lots of people like to share pictures of their students or different things like that, and it just really is just a great way to network. But I don't think it's the only way. I think there's a lot of different ways that we can network. Another creative way that could be shared definitely through social media is maybe doing like a STEM video series. My background was in digital media arts. I graduated from Huntington University, and so I still have all of those skills, although I don't use them all the time in the classroom. In second grade, I still do use them quite a bit. So it'd be really cool to maybe use some of those skills to maybe do a STEM-focused video for across the district and see what are we doing at the high school, what are we doing at the junior high, what are we doing at the intermediate school, the elementary school. How can we showcase that and get people engaged? Because videos are really just an engaging, eye-grabbing, attention-grabbing thing that you can share on social media. So how can we highlight that? And then the third thing that we kind of talked about as, I don't know, just a cool idea, was maybe having a STEM festival. And not just at MES, not just at MIS, but one that is just for the entire district to just have all the student work that we've done over the course of the year, or even maybe even before that. I mean, there's the PCAP team that does some amazing stuff. We got to tour the high school and intermediate school. They have some robots. There's just so many cool things that you wouldn't even know go on in our buildings. And I think that if we could have some kind of big festival, maybe at Warville Park or something, and tie in the high school to it maybe at some point, showing STEM work, maybe inviting people from the community that have STEM related jobs, maybe inviting people to do some STEM related activities, just really putting a focus and just building some excitement about STEM in our schools and in our communities and beyond that. And I feel like that could be something that not only would draw people who are in our schools, but could possibly draw people from surrounding communities, maybe even people from across the state could be interested in that. So just some ways that we could spend our time in fruitful ways rather than ways where we're just kind of getting a little bit disappointed or frustrated because we just didn't see the fruit of our efforts from all that we put in. So that's kind of the marketing side of things for our STEM pivot. So.
Yeah, go ahead and advance this. I think it's the...
Oh. There's a nice pretty picture of what it could be. So yeah, I mean, just really inviting like alumni back. Maybe there's people who have moved past Manchester, but they still want to come back and show off what they do. Why not give them a chance to toot their own horn? Having some STEM games, some activities, prizes, just a way to get everybody together, because we did the STEM site visit and we got to visit every school in our district, and it was so cool. Just so eye-opening. I'm on the STEM team and I didn't even know half of the stuff that goes on. And you can't even document half the stuff that goes on because you're trying to teach it. You're trying to be with students. You're trying to do things. So this was just another way to highlight that. So, yeah.
Okay, go ahead and advance it. So we have, I want to go back to our advisory board, which Mariah and Adam, thank you, they serve on that board and have had wonderful input. But other members of that board are David Pyle from Poet, Kathy Davis, who's Manchester University chemistry professor, and she's also the Regional Science Olympiad Director, Stacy Stetzel from Manchester University, Bobby Russell, who's the founder and CEO of Quest for Stars, he's the high altitude balloon launch guy, Chelsea Parson, who's the project manager at Grow Wabash County, and then maybe some names that you recognize, well, sort of. Tara Janegi Wicker is a certified environmental educator in Wilmington, North Carolina. Adam Hanback, he's cybersecurity at Land O'Lakes in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Bradley Miller, guidance and navigation and flight engineer for Corvid in Mooresville, North Carolina. And Anna Osborne, who's a water conservation specialist from Denver, Colorado. And then Corrine Evans, who is an Engage Central Ohio Executive Director. She does professional development for administrators and education from Dublin, Ohio. So that's our advisory board. And they're just, they had so much, it was almost freeing, just the way they allowed us to think about our processes. You know, like Adam said, you know, I get a certification. It kind of gets you in the door. He said, but in my world in cybersecurity, I just need people that can do the work. I don't care about your certificate. I care that you can do the work. And you know, and this quote is from Kathy Davis. You know, let's equip our students to be marketable and pour our efforts into our students instead of into filling documents and folders and things like that. So just a lot of really good advice from them. And so, you know, we left that last meeting in May thinking we're either going to pump the brakes or we're going to cut the brake line. We're not sure which yet. We think the STEM certification process will evolve when it comes to the state level. And, you know, as people are probably not going to complete the certification process, it's going to be a wake-up call, I think, for them as well. But we want to look at this experience as very positive. We're thankful that we went through the process. We're thankful for the site visit and all the things that we learned from that. We also know that we do STEM very well at Manchester schools, and we want to market that. So Joel took the statement that when I said we might cut the brake lines, if you go to the last slide, go ahead and go one more slide. That's Joel's comment at the very end of our meeting. So anyway, what questions do you have for us?
So
I
Sue,
don't have any questions, but as on the advisory board, I wasn't at the May meeting, and I know when we initially saw the IDOE's, like, this is what you need to provide, it was like tab after tab after tab,
It
and I
was
was like,
insane.
this can't be real, like, surely just one tab, and it was like all of it, it was insane, and I wondered how many other people thought the same thing, which is likely if they didn't, half of them didn't apply, so I'm sure it took a lot of effort, so thankful for everybody who's participated, probably even teachers that had to provide on a whim when they're trying to teach. It took a big undertaking, so I fully support the direction you guys are going with that, because I don't want to chase just a sticker, because I think we can better use our time, so.
Just have really been impressed with the leadership throughout the entire school system and organization, and really commend you for your hard work and effort. And I'd also say, we can't be an expert, at everything, so we have to rely on your judgment and input moving forward. But really, really good job, and young people are really very fortunate to have you.
I think it's heading in the right direction. I think it's a great way to go.
So I'm, as you know, kind of a bottom line sort of guy. So what you're recommending at this point is that we do not proceed with getting state certification, that we're diverting to providing the best services we can to kids, and kind of let the state flounder upon themselves until they figure the system out. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, we have no guarantee that the rubric might not change again, so we feel like we might be aiming at a moving target, and we don't like that feeling, especially when it's taking away from what we can do for our own students. We never want STEM to become a bad word for exhausted teachers who are asked to do one more thing, put one more document, take one more picture, label it. That is not where I want to go with STEM. And so I think yes, we're going to wait, and maybe it is pumping the brakes. We're going to continue to do the good things that we do, and we have evidence. We just don't have it at the granular level that they were asking for it. So yes.
And I do think that it was like I think that there were so many different feedbacks from the other schools involved. I think that they did end up changing parts of it, maybe not for better, but I think they added more specifications, which on top of the specifications that were already there. So it is definitely a fluid process, and I think during our STEM site visit, they were saying, well, this is great for us too, for the state, because it helps them see, how schools are feeling about it. And I think that we definitely handled it in a professional way, but also we're very transparent about how it made everybody feel. And I think that they probably are letting that simmer right now, and along with what the other schools have provided feedback for. So. And they even told us, they said, wow, we're just seeing so many amazing things. I feel like this could be a flagship school for STEM, but yet we're at the lowest level, according to them. So it's just very, very uncertain on both ends, I think, of where we stood.
And I do have a good relationship with many of those people at the Department of Education. So I was going to call them ahead of time, and I thought, no, I want to present to the school board, get your feedback, but I will call them and explain to them kind of the direction we're going and the why behind it. And just so they know, I think they need to understand the perception of this process for school districts. And so that's where I want to go. We talk about our vision is never stop wondering, but how do you quantify wonder? Every day we see it in our buildings and through our classrooms, but man, that's really hard to document that.
The other question, and you caught this up front, this went from a multi-year certification to a one-year certification, so whatever files you're creating this year, you get to recreate next year, and then the following year, and the following year. So pretty soon your desk looks like mine.
Yeah.
No.
And to add to that, there's also an annual report, which I just got today, and it's 7 pages long, that I have to fill out.
And how many addendums to that and appendices do you add to that 7 pages?
Yeah, who knows, right? I just opened it up and went, 7 pages, I'll do that later, so, yeah.
So if we go back to the fundamentals, what's the intent of STEM?
It's engaged learning. right? It's
Science, technology, engineering, and math,
Math,
right?
right,
We're
right.
kind of bundling those learnings in applicable manner,
Mm-hmm.
right? We're in the value-added area, and then here's a state entity, again, with a new system, for whatever reason, right? And I won't question them, but this is exactly what's wrong, so who's ever looking, that little camera's on us, right? So what would happen like this week, or maybe early next week, you get a call from DOE that a group wants to work with you on this, and they want to par this back, because I want to know, how much money have we spent at this school system on STEM? I've been on this board for 8 years, how much?
I've gotten grants.
Yeah.
It's a business, this is a business case, right? And so here we go again with the poor systemic approach. So in this world you're talking about there, did anyone pilot that? The changes, when they went from this to that at the DOE, did anyone pilot those changes with you guys, or was it here you go?
Oh, the rubric changes?
Yeah.
We're the pilot. We're the first group. So I mean.
The 30 schools?
The 30 schools are the ones.
So it was done on a grand scale, 84 of them, and then only 30 accepted because they
58,
saw what
I
a
think is what
pile.
Joel said.
Or
Yeah.
58 and then 30.
Mhm.
So again, I think,
Prior to
this doesn't
that-
go to you. I will apologize to you being a citizen and a voter in this state for all the efforts you guys put into this program, and then watch what happens to it, right? And so when we're making decisions down there about things like this, it's bad enough when it's in the non-value added land, on funding and stuff like that, but then when you do things ill afford, that's why we need continuous improvement in public education, right? That we don't do these things and thwart what we've all been putting effort in, right, and money into. So I appreciate you guys. Thank you for what you do.
And I will
was
just add.
gonna, sorry, add real quick. There are still schools that will be STEM certified for the next 4 years, is it? Because it was a 5-year process of before.
Yes.
So some of those are still within their
So it's that cycle.
grandfathered in type of thing. But ours ended.
Which now becomes sort of a negative marketing if we don't positively market it, right?
Yeah, and I guess, I still want to keep a positive twist on STEM. I mean,
Right.
I don't want it to be negative, and I understand the value of sustainable systems. I mean, and I think we have that. One thing the DOE said, and I appreciate that, when your brilliant leaders leave, will you still be as good at STEM as you are right now? And that's a goal of mine. When I walk away from this position, I still want STEM to be strong at Manchester schools. Joel would say the same thing. James would say the same thing. So we understand that there have to be systems in place, but I don't know that we have to document them and put them in a folder for the DOE. We have to share that vision with our teachers, and that's a culture, right? And again, I really truly believe STEM is embedded in the DNA at Manchester schools.
It's systemic, and that's what you want in a system,
Yes.
is to be systemic, because otherwise it's an event.
Yes.
And what the state is trying to force upon is an event-driven system, and schools don't operate that way if they're efficient and effective. So,
Well, one of the major problems is all the other industries, we have what's called ISO systems, right? We have guidelines. We operate in education, the freaking stuff changes every 6 months, right? That's and some of those changes aren't good. So thank you guys for the efforts.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I guess I would just go back, and for Sue's sake, does anybody have an objection with proceeding with telling the state that we are not going to participate and we will do our STEM the way Manchester needs to have it done?
No.
Okay.
No objection.
No, I'm kind of waiting to see their response to that,
I'll
so.
let you know what they say.
Well-
I truly will call them and have a good conversation, I know.
Thank you. Financial report.
I will apologize up front, this looks a little different, because like I told you before, I wasn't trained and experienced enough on the copier, and Shelley is the keeper of the dots, and she is out this last 2 weeks. So the report will look a little different, same information. So again, we don't have dots, we have green bars, green's good. This is the operation fund, and coming down, you'll see that we're projected to be negative 251, and we have not gotten a tax draw yet. We ended up at negative 197, so variance was positive 54, and when you come down to the numbers, you'll see when we get all said and done, we're in one less in the hole than what we thought we would. Again, we get 2 tax draws a year. We have not received our abstract yet, and we should get our draw before the end of the month. Usually it's here before the July 1st. So that will put everything into the green column again, and quite frankly, we should be in the green, I would hope through September, maybe October, but it'll be balanced out with our December draw.
Okay.
Education, I will share a little bit with this because we're in the red, and the reason for that is we had 3 faculty members that are leaving us that asked if they could do their final draws at one lump sum, which we had granted. So instead of being paid out through June, July, and into a couple pays into August, they took it up front. So again, we do that. It just makes it easier, and it's upon request. We don't advertise it, but so that's why we're negative 11,000 is because we had 3 folks that took lump sum in May. So overall, again, very good balance. We're sitting at 2.1 mil in education fund currently, and we believe that will be a good number rolling through the rest of the year in that 2 mil range.
Sounds good.
So,
Where's rainy day?
I'm sorry?
Where's rainy day fund at?
Rainy day is 907.
About one, yeah.
Thousand somewhere in there.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, good.
yeah, the goal this year will be to transfer more into rainy day when we get into November, December.
Motion to approve financials. Mr. Raymer, a second.
Either one.
Mr. Orr, discussion? Thank you, Mr. Stevens. All in favor?
Aye.
6-0. School nurse job description.
Okay, in 3.5 years, I have never done this, and I'm going to do it twice tonight. I'm recommending that we create 2 new positions. First is school nurse. We have one currently covering all 3 buildings, and the reporting systems that the state requires, the types of services the nurses are required to do is just overwhelming for one person. So we had to end up this year with a nurse and a part-time person because of maternity leave, and everybody found that having the second person around was extremely helpful. So my recommendation, you have a job description, is that we create a second nurse position. And right now, once we approve this, we'll do advertisements. We're looking from a CMA to an LPN to an RN in that order. So if we can find the right candidate, obviously the higher up the scale you go, the more expensive it will be. So we're trying to maintain a reasonable amount, but this will be a non-certified operation fund, not an education fund expense. So they will be at-will employees.
Okay. So motion to approve the school nurse.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Ms. Tobias, seconds. Mr. Penrod, discussion? So there's also increase in sort of some special needs, right?
Yes.
And so.
Yes, we have some students that are inbound that have very unique and serious health concerns that we have to monitor as well.
Okay.
Will this be full-time with benefits, you said, or
Sure.
it will? Okay.
Position. All in favor?
Aye.
6-0. And I want to thank you for following the hiring procedure as well. So, as you do. Facility maintenance director?
Okay.
The other.
Yeah, this is another position. As you know, we picked up Kenny Miller earlier this year with Jack's resignation. I think we have an opportunity by having a second person of saving some serious revenue simply because we'll no longer need to hire everything out. Kenny's done a great job of picking up grounds and that sort of thing. If you've been around the building, it looks much improved even from the last couple weeks. So what we're looking for is somebody especially that has HVAC background, licensing being better, so we can do a lot of our own internal work in that regard. But we're also looking like being able to change out exterior lights and all those sort of things that it's hard to do with one person. You need to be safe too.
Safety.
So the recommendation is we pick up a second maintenance person. He would report directly to the maintenance supervisor. And maintenance supervisor, just so you know, and I think we talked about this before, is also, the custodians are responsible to him as well now. So that's been a change that's been needed for a long time.
Okay, motion to approve. Mr. Esposito, second Mr. Raymer, discussion. If I could throw a caveat on this, I would like this, so we talk, our discussions, Mrs. Janetti brought it up as well, as succession planning, but also development. So I would like to see these guys go to some type of TPM training.
Oh, yeah.
Right, where we can put a system in there,
Yep.
so. Other than that, any other discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
6-0.
And then this will also be an operation fund expense, will be a as-will employee, so it'll be a contracted service.
That will. Okay, consent items, claims, minutes, somebody have resignation?
Molly Mash, Junior, Mash. At home.
Thank you, Mr. Raymer.
Well, at home, that word was mash. Okay. Anyways, Molly Mash, junior, senior high school science Olympiad head
Yeah.
coach. Janelle Walters, MES reading interventionalist. Matt Carver, junior, senior high assistant tennis coach. Amy Ambrose, junior, senior high Chicago trip organizer. Nancy Johnson, MES preschool special ed teacher. Carrie Schultz, MCS bus driver. Sarah Adair, MES special ed paraprofessional. Becca Wiley, junior, senior high school guidance counselor. Rachel Kirtland, MES DLI paraprofessional. Raquel Tootle, junior, senior high school color guard coach. And Anthony Richardson, junior, senior high school assistant band director. Thank you for your service to our school system.
Yes. Any grants?
We have no grants. Make sure I say that right. No, I'm sorry, we do. Yeah, thank you.
That's all right.
I was looking to the next one. We have two grants. One is discovery of the outdoor field trip, second grade South Mooney State Park, donor Indiana State Parks and Indiana Natural Resources. That's $500. And then discovery outdoor field, fourth grade, Chain of Lakes, Indiana State Park and Indiana Natural Resources for $500.
Awesome. Both of them sound fun, huh? So, donations?
I'll do donations.
Thank you.
$100 to Manchester Community Schools Health and Wellness Program from Tri Kappa. $20 to Manchester Junior Senior High School Art Department. Oops, I skipped a line there. Track program from an anonymous donor. $200 from MJHS Art Department from Tri Kappa. $100 donation to MJHS Theater Department from Tri Kappa. $100 to MJHS After Prom from Tri Kappa. $300 to MJSHS High School Summer Running Club from an anonymous donor. $1,000 donation to MJSHS FFA program from an anonymous donor, and $460 to MJSHS for oak tree planting near the football field in remembrance of Cole Adamic. I don't think I spelled it right. What is it? Adamic. Cole loved football, and the tree bringing an oak tree is to show his strength that he had during his battle with cancer. Ashley Thomas and a group that purchased the tree will be planting it, and later by Manchester Underground. So it's a total of $2,280. Thank you for your donations.
Yeah, what a community. Facility rentals. Facility rentals.
I have no facility rentals.
No facility rentals? Okay. Get a motion to approve consent items?
So moved.
Mr. Raymer, a second?
Yep.
Mr. Esposito, discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 5-0. Employment, additional employment.
Anybody want to pick those up?
Sure.
Okay.
We have Lauren Stout, summer school para at MCS. Caitlin Bowers, junior, senior high school, junior high English teacher. Autumn De La Cruz, MES reading paraprofessional. Tyler Palmer, junior, senior high head basketball coach. Dino Miglarini, junior, senior high school assistant boys tennis coach. Tim Bartley, junior, senior high school assistant high school cross-country coach. Casey Lane, junior, senior high school boys assistant basketball coach. Blake Knudsen, junior, senior high school assistant high school football coach. And Christina Ryder, MIS guidance counselor. Welcome to our fabulous school system.
Yeah. Welcome. Motion to approve?
I'll make a motion.
Mr. Bias, second. Mr. Orr, any discussion? Yeah, nice. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
5-0. Women's soccer team overnight.
All right, have an overnight trip for August 6th and 7th. This is for the women's soccer. Ratio of chaperones be 1 to 6. And Lake Webster is where they're going, and they'll staying at the Dan Norogans Lake House. So I'll answer any other questions you may have. It's in your file, so.
They do it every year.
Yep. Then okay, you want to do this separate?
Yeah.
Motion to approve. Mr. Raymer, a second. Mr. Esposito, discussion? Yep, yearly, so. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
5-0. Basketball camp?
Next one is, and I misled you last month, the question was raised about, we have a form for camps. And I said, yes. Well, we don't. So, we will be, but right now, we'll probably be using something like this as our template. So, high school summer camp for 26th, July 13th to 16th. Manchester High School gym is for 3rd and 5th grade, 5 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. 6th through 8th grade, 6:30 to 8, $40 per camper.
Awesome. This is our new basketball coach, right?
Correct.
Motion to approve?
I'll make a motion.
Mr. Bias, second. Mr. Orr, discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
5-0. Okay.
So let me ask quickly, so is this kind of the information that would be helpful in a form? Is there anything else you'd like to see?
On that form?
Well,
There's always been a submission form, so yeah, I'm a little
Yeah.
confused on that.
Not for
but-
camps. We've had it for everything else. We've never had a camp form.
I don't think we have to reinvent a form, certainly. Don't we have legal counsel that,
Well, it's more of a case of, are these the things that you want to see? We can create the form, that's not a big deal. It's just, is this type of information that you would
Yeah.
want to see on a camp form?
Yeah, where it's at, number of chaperones and.
Yeah,
go
I might
ahead.
Yeah.
add, like, who's working the camp, background check, just to.
Oh, yeah, we do
again,
all
to-
that.
To protect
Yeah,
the camp director.
yeah.
Maybe where the funds go.
I do like the student to counselor
Ratio.
ratio.
Yeah.
That's
Yep.
nice.
Chaperone ratio,
Yeah.
okay.
Okay, all right, we'll work on that.
And 6-4,
Technology handbook, you had it at your first reading, there's no changes. The only thing we had were some, basically, dates. So that is ready for adoption if you have, so,
motion to approve the 26-27 MCS
So
Student
moved.
Technology Handbook. Mr. Raymer, a second. Mr. Orr, any discussion? We'll see if this changes, huh? But all in favor?
Aye.
5-0.
and I just want to remind everyone that we are required by statute that cell phones are no longer allowed in school when school starts. So those will be in lockers. We will make sure parents are notified of that. But again, as I warn teachers, this will fall back to them. So the first time a kid walks in the room and the teacher says, put it back in your locker, be prepared to have some angry parents.
Are they gonna
So-
have them during lunch?
Technically, from the start of school to end of school.
Okay.
Now, there will be some exceptions because of health issues and things like that. I did talk to Tony. He is looking at, with our student management software, there is a feature in there that I think will help. He's looking into that, and I'll bring the report back to you in July. But we think there's a communication system in there so parents and kids can communicate back and forth during the day off of our system.
That would be nice.
So I will have more information. We talked about that briefly today, so. Okay.
I'm just gonna shut up on that whole thing, so.
Well,
Yep, did we?
We need to
we
vote
approve
on that.
Yep.
Surety bond for.
Surety bond, I need just approval. These are for Darla Kane and ECA Treasurers. This is an annual requirement. And basically, it runs through our insurance company, and basically, it is if anybody who deals with cash, they're protected, so if something should happen, surety bond kicks in and helps on recovery. But I just need approval that we can go ahead and apply.
Motion for approval, Mr. Esposito, second.
Yeah.
Mr. Raymer, discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, 5-0. So then the admin and non-certified salary increase.
All right, so last year, teachers averaged a 6% salary increase. That is a 2-year contract. We did a 3% for non-certified administrators last year. I'm recommending 3%. This year matches the 6% teachers received on average. And then there'll be some other recommendations that I, for merit or to bring people up, but the average, again, will be 3 for administrators and 3 for non-certified. And this will also move the administrators back to the original term of their contract. So right now, they have 1 year remaining on their contract. This would put them back to 2 years. So again, we've talked about this before. If you have an issue with administrator, there's really 2 ways of making your, 3 ways, making your displeasure known. One is through administrative write-ups, which are the superintendent's responsibility. Unless it's the superintendent, then it's my responsibility. Second one is you don't roll their contract. The third is you do not get a salary increase, and if you really want to get their attention, you write them up, you don't roll their contracts, and you don't give them a salary increase. That's kind of the death knell that the administrator knows that things are not going well. So, again, I would recommend the 3% and contracts roll to the original terms for administrators.
Motion to approve.
I'll make a motion.
Mr. Bias, second. Mr. Orr, discussion. Anybody got any discussion on this? Nope.
Cost of living
All
is
in
not
approval?
going down.
Aye.
Aye.
5-0. MES personnel title change.
All right, currently Beth Rosen is our preschool director and literacy director. She also covers case conferences. She covers for Linda when she's out of the building. And when she's going to those situations, and she introduces herself as, well, I'm calling you, I'm the preschool director, but Linda's out. So I'd really like to change her title to just assistant principal. No change in salary, no change in benefits, it's simply a title change. It just makes it easier when she is communicating with parents and sitting in conferences.
Okay, motion to approve. Mr. Raymer, a second. Mrs. Tobias, discussion?
Nope.
No discussion? All in approval? 5-0. Meal prices.
I will tell you that in at least a decade, I have never done this. I'm recommending that we do not change meal prices or lunch prices or breakfast prices for the 26-27 school year,
Woo-hoo.
which takes no action because it's just the same, but I just thought I'd bring it to your attention because, again, at least 10 years, that's not been the case.
Why is it the case this year?
We are told by the state, and this year they didn't tell us that we had to.
Yeah.
So what they do is they look at cost of commodities, cost of what you're running, they look at your cash balance, and they look at, we anticipate what your current meal price or meal services will be for next year. They run all through that formula, and when they come back, almost always it's, you increase by 10 cents. And this year they came back and said, nope, you're good.
And that's different per school? per
Yes,
district.
they run that by district. Yep.
Well, food service is a separate entity, right?
It's separate, yeah, but they have their own
That's all.
department in Indianapolis that comes up and checks all this stuff,
Yeah, good. Hey,
so.
Mr. Orr, how about a Heartland update?
Well, on May the 19th, we had a certificate presentation ceremony at Honeywell Center, and practically standing room only. Young people were incredibly excited, as they well should be, and parents were proud and excited as well. So I think it just culminates another very successful year on the part of Heartland.
Awesome. So, anything on buildings, anything like that? So we still have to have a little discussion on Heartland's future, right? So,
Well, we do. We will.
okay. Legislative update, Adam's at the sports awards, so I don't think anything heavy's going on there, so working through that. Superintendent comments?
I have none at this time.
Oh, I forgot. Welcome back.
Oh, thank you. So, no, obviously it's summer, we are progressing. We have summer help kids that are here that have done yeoman's work already. I think if you've been around the property, especially this property, there has been a tremendous amount of mulch and digging and scraping and other stuff. So they've not gotten too much inside yet. If it stopped raining, it'd be even better. But it seems like whatever we do, it rains an inch the next day, so it's been
I
trying
think
on
we're gonna
that.
be happy later this summer. We've got all this rain, maybe.
Maybe,
We'll see.
but right now, when you fertilize and it rains, it's not a good thing. So, but other than that, we are searching for personnel. Obviously, you saw we are in the good shape of hiring, but we still have some holes that we're trying to fill. And in some cases, applicants are few and far between. So principals are working diligently to try to get those systems in place.
School board comments?
Just really good to see young people here tonight. That's why we're here.
Well,
That's why we're here, and that's the finished product, or getting finished, so very exciting for them.
Yeah, I'm
Graduation
kind
was
of-
pretty nice.
Yeah, impressed with, the faculty and this is I deal with I work with some of the smartest people in the state, like thousands of them, right? And the problems we face in the industry and stuff this school system thing, is a challenge from a lot of angles, just like the STEM you guys are talking about.
Sure.
So just kudos to the staff as well, right? That we're adaptable. So if you get a motion to adjourn? Mr. Raymer, a second. Mrs. Tobias, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, we're down to 4, but we got a
I know,
quorum.
we keep flying.
Got it done.
All right, thank you. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
So Judy has a